trying to engineer a solution. We're trying to build something that is going to actively result in change in the way we take care of our patients.
All we are concerned about is making sure that you can make the best possible prototype by the end of this quarter that you can.
This is not just a class where you are practicing principles in design or principles in engineering or principles in business. You're starting companies.
Now, our plan to protect the technology present in the Baccarat is to file a number of patents, the first of which would cover all the technology that we've already talked about with the Baccarat.
Welcome to a new way of learning at Northwestern University.
And then anytime that you're in the ORs, there's a circulating nurse, means that
a course that brings a mix of students into operating rooms and hospitals.
One of the most important things during the shadowing process is you're observing. Having fresh eyes in the OR suite is critical.
And translates observations into ideas.
Our product comes down to two components. One is a sensing component, and the other one is the queuing mechanism.
It's an extraordinary merging of 4 schools.
To their medical condition.
We have a team comprised of medical students and engineering students, Kellogg business students, and law students.
Where teams of students from different disciplines combine their knowledge.
And they're forced to work with people that have skill sets that they don't have, but that don't have their skill sets.
And invent products for the biomedical industry.
It's the ideal course because you interact with people that you normally wouldn't see. You get to be creative, and you get to potentially form a company out of it.
It was an idea born from students.
You know, rather than building one device, why not build a program that builds a bunch of devices?
Supported by faculty.
We want to add this element of broadness to them. And the best way to do this is by connecting them with other disciplines.
And is now a true collaboration.
Arena that has partial weight-bearing protocol.
These are ideas that are actually going to be realized in the marketplace to the benefits of physicians and patients. And that's the bottom line.
It's called NUVention. The young man walking down the corridor is a medical resident at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. His name, Swaminathan Gnanashamugan.
And you can just call me Swami.
In 2006, Swami was a Northwestern University medical student with a passion for biodesign. Deep down, he wanted to take a class that would help students develop innovative products for the medical marketplace. He understood the university was looking to build academic collaboration and believed this was the right time for such a project. Problem was, the pieces were not in place.
And I felt that at the university we didn't really have the infrastructure that we needed in order to support that kind of development. I started a club called Life Sciences Technology Club, trying to get things going, get students involved. We decided I wanted to kind of take it to another level.
And he was very interested in developing a program that allowed students to sort of work with surgeons, figure out what problems they had that weren't resolved, and try to figure out solutions for them. And beyond that, try to figure out whether or not you can even build a business around what those potential solutions were.
Swami recruited. He looked for students from 4 Northwestern schools: the Feinberg School of Medicine, the McCormick School of Engineering, the Kellogg School of Management, and the School of Law. First, he wanted people who could help him formulate the key questions.
How do I get my idea from my head into a good prototype, into passing through a patent, and then moving it on into some kind of marketable company?
But also convince faculty and administrators this is a program many students would want.
It was one of those things where everybody said that it wouldn't be possible for such and such a reason, but none of those reasons to me seemed like they were absolute deal breakers. It just seemed like to me there were problems that needed to be solved.
Coming up, a breakthrough. Swami and his team find the right audience and take a big step toward making NUVention a reality. The idea sounded great. Blend 4 schools into one course focused on medical innovation. But for faculty, The logistics seemed daunting.
Their kind of initial response was, there's no way you're going to get this started. This is going to require so much work. You got to talk to this person and then this person.
Then, a turning point. The students went to the McCormick School of Engineering and Applied Science and pitched their idea to the dean, Julio Otino. Immediately, he saw potential.
If an idea comes to you, it's not going to come in fully formed, perfectly wrapped in a nice package. You have to pick the idea and be willing to shape it to make it a reality.
We pitched the course, Swami, Neil, and I, to a number of alumni from McCormick, and that's when someone stood up and said this course has to be done.
This was new, this was different, it was a challenge, and the faculty team that got brought together to do this is a very talented, very experienced group of folks, and they don't take no for an answer, they really don't.
The idea of NUVention quickly became a reality. In just 1 year, the 4 schools, medicine, engineering, business, and law, would unite to create a 2-quarter, 6-month class formerly called NUVention Medical Innovation.
At that time, we were so concerned that we weren't going to have anybody sign up, and then suddenly we have 80 kids.
In all, there would be 11 teams, and each one would have a specialty, such as orthopedics, cardiology, or urology. All team members would spend several weeks in surgery and other medical settings observing, looking for a better way to practice medicine.
What a lot of docs do, they'll do workarounds, especially surgeons. You know, this doesn't work, but they'll just do a bit of this and a bit of that, and it's okay. But why do you have to do workarounds? Why don't you have something that works well in the first place?
Having fresh eyes in the OR suite is critical because they ask questions that in many cases those people who are there every day accept as a given.
It seems like there's islands of people working on the person. You said, do they ever need to talk to each other?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. We want them to. It's a big issue.
From this immersion, the challenge was to come up with a list of 50 needs, 50 possible ideas for a product or company. One of the teams, orthopedics, first came up with a device that would help surgeons remove hip and knee implants.
It was too technically complex for the course that the course of time that we had.
And we determined that with, creating a design firm focused on the innovative surgical instruments, that was going to allow us to do more and learn more throughout the class.
We found, especially through consultation with practicing physicians who have similar companies, who have designed devices of their own, we brought the idea to them of this ergonomic design company, and they absolutely loved the idea.
The idea that took to redesign basic surgical tools like a scalpel or a retractor and make them easier to hold, easier to use.
Modern surgical tools have finally caught up with modern medicine.
The team came up with a name and marketing identity. They would cover their surgical tools with a black coating and call their company Onyx.
Onyx would like to introduce today our first suite of products. The Shark, an ergonomic scalpel with a focus on control and precision. And the Raptor, an ergonomic retractor with interchangeable hand.
The innovations were these: to add finger rests to a scalpel and to redesign a retractor, the device that pulls open an incision area for surgeons.
The thing that was really striking to me out of this is being a doctor many years away from med school is a fresh set of eyes. Who would have thought about developing new retractors? We've been using the same ones since the Civil War.
After the first year of this experimental course, it is clear NUVention is working.
This class, grades left the scope of importance in this class, I think, 3 months ago. This really came about being able to prove to yourself as a student that you can build a business based on a need that you helped develop.
What we've presented today is just the beginning of realizing the potential of our market opportunity. Because here at Onyx, we're bringing innovation and design to surgical instruments. Thank you.
Next, the second year of NUVention, and a look at 2 teams and 2 ideas and how students build new inventions from scratch.
We're going to be going around each table. All we are concerned about is making sure that you can make the best possible prototype by the end of this quarter that you can.
It is NUVention the second time around. This year, the NUVention faculty limited the size of the class to a more manageable 8 teams. The students have already spent several weeks in clinics, in surgery, and in rehabilitation centers, trying to turn their observations into meaningful ideas.
We had 50, 60 ideas on the table, and what it really came down to is what can we make well and convince people is useful in the marketplace.
Krista Irola is an engineering student on the orthopedics team. She and her teammates are in a prototype lab. They call their company Medi9, a reference to the 9 members on their team. The product they're designing is called Impressure. It's a warning system to help patients with injured legs and feet. In rehab clinics, patients are instructed to put some weight on their recovering legs, but not too much. Often they're asked to step on a scale with one foot and feel the pressure they're allowed to exert.
Right now the patient goes home and they are forced to remember an arbitrary sensation of what 40 pounds of pressure feels like on their foot.
That got the Medi9 team thinking. What if they developed a shoe insert that could measure the weight bearing down on a leg and could cue the patient if that weight goes out of range? The team demonstrates their product to 2 sets of advisors, one to explain the business and marketing plan, the other to explain the science and engineering.
The pressure sensing circuit, is something that you would try to adapt to the patient's shoe, or would they be required to wear a special shoe that would be...
Probably an insole.
Just a couple of tables over in the prototype lab, the urology team is showing off their own gadget. Here, a vacuum-powered device is sucking up pieces of hard-boiled egg, a soft substance meant to simulate bladder tissue.
So the water will just carry the sample into our collection system.
In surgery, this team noticed doctors use one entry port to search for cancerous tissue in the bladder. The surgeons take samples from the bladder wall, re-enter to cauterize and stop bleeding, then repeat the process several times. The tool they're inventing is called the Vacurate Biopsy Forceps device. These students say with their product, a surgeon could do more in less time, making a bladder biopsy more efficient.
You don't want your patients to be in pain. I mean, you're more likely to have compliance from your patients if something's going to take less time, be, less cumbersome, and make them, not have to go to the OR, because now you can do it quickly and effectively in a clinic.
Ready to go?
This is a prep session for the team's final presentation.
Good evening, my name is Anis Fazli and this is Lauren Hood, and we are part of the Gizmonics.
The objective is to build a case before a panel of faculty and industry experts and convince them that their idea, their company, would be worth support from investors.
So we have 3 days to practice and to make sure that the presentation is very tight-knit.
On the same day and in the same building,
if we market our product as also treating pain, not just weight-bearing protocols, but the weight-bearing as tolerated protocol, it's 100%.
The orthopedics team is debating what should be included and what should be cut from their pitch. They're looking for ways to show how their product fills a void in physical therapy.
The doctor's saying, I'm really worried about patients, I will keep them in the cast.
That's what Chris said. He said they'll put patients in full leg casts to completely incapacitate them because they do not think they will follow partial weight bearing well enough without hurting themselves. Like, should I say that?
That's good.
Yeah. Let's say that.
The students are aware that in just 15 minutes they have to cover a lot. The medical need, the engineering solution, the business plan, and the legal landscape.
I'll be more than happy to take a stab at reconstructing that and shooting it out to everyone.
One thing, however, escapes no one on this team: how far they've come since the course began.
And so we've evolved that from a sheet of paper to an actual living, breathing prototype that we're going to be able to show on Wednesday, and that's really exciting to go from just an idea to a physical creation.
Coming up, the final show, and a chance for these 2 teams to show expertise to the experts. It's the show before the final show, an exhibit of the products of 8 NUVention teams. Tonight, there are prestigious guests, experts from industry who've flown in just for this occasion. These company executives join faculty and administrators to check out what the teams have produced. At one table, the urology team is getting high praise.
I mean, it's really nicely done.
We built something that's completely novel and it works. I mean, that's the point of this.
While at the next table, the orthopedics team is presenting their prototype.
What they do is they take the patient and they say, okay, now you need 50% weight bearing. Let's say that's 60 pounds. And they have them stand on a platform and their affected foot on the weight scale, and they push down until it says 60 pounds, and they say, okay, now remember that next 3 weeks, and don't re-injure it.
Exactly. This is the informal cell. The formal one is moments away.
Good evening. My name is Anis Fazili, and this is Lauren Hood, and we're here tonight on behalf of Gizmonics to talk to you about our exciting new product, the Evacuate Bladder Biopsy Device. I'm going to need to see a show of hands for this next question. I'd like you all to raise your hands if you urinated in the past 24 hours. There's no need to be ashamed. Everybody urinates. That's fantastic. Now please...
The jokes, of course, are a segue to serious stuff. Anis Fazili digs into the details of the Evacuate. He plays a video and shows how the device works on a pig bladder.
And you see the suction effect on the bladder. And this time when the blades are rotated, you'll see a small piece of tissue detached and a small indentation left right there.
As the law student on the team, Lauren Hood explains how their company will get a patent. She also maps out the strategy for financing.
We would like to develop a strategic partnership, not just for the cash investment that will help us with the research and development and meeting our goals, but also to provide us with that valuable experience in manufacturing and cells that we don't possess as a startup company.
Overall, the presentation is smooth. Even so, the panel is tough, questioning whether the finance projections make sense.
You're asking for $600,000 for something that might be worth $1 million 3 years from now. That's not compelling for me.
It's not that we just want to do this one product, but we really see it as just the starting off point for our entire company and being able to expand into the other areas.
Most groups split the initial presentation between 2 students, but on the orthopedics team, Krista Irola is the main spokesperson.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Krista Irola and I'm going to be representing Meta9. Our mission as a company is really to revolutionize the rehabilitation environment by providing technical solutions that allow for better rehabilitation to occur.
No doubt, this team's entire pitch is striving for simplicity. Compared to some of the other student projects, their device, InPressure, is less complicated.
We have a small insole embedded with pressure sensors. Something easy the patient can just slip inside their shoe and they can leave it there for the 3 weeks. And then a small vibrating mechanism they can place anywhere on their body, which allows for versatility in the design. Thank you for your time and we'll take questions now.
With InPressure, the team made an impression.
Very nice work on voice of the customer. You identified the need, and then you went out and talked to the users, and you talked to the physical therapist.
After the pitch, a CEO from a large biomed firm congratulates the students.
Thank you. Thank you. Terrific. Great job.
Great job.
I've seen things today that these students are being taught that engineers never learn. They're trying to take these kids through the path of how to properly approach a medical concept design from cradle to market.
Keep in mind, some of these teams may not go very far with their ideas. Several may pursue patents, even partnerships. But others, like the Onyx team from the first year, stick with it and actively try to get a real company started.
Northwestern released the intellectual property to these students. So I think the university, by making that one leap, it made the students take ownership of their projects, and it made them take ownership of their companies because they really are companies. So I think the environment at Northwestern for that kind of entrepreneurship is spectacular.
At the end of the presentations, there is deeper confirmation.
We have some future innovators in the area of healthcare that will definitely, and we believe this class will definitely have played a role in that. So congratulations.
This program has evolved into something that's more than a way to make products for the biomed industry. Now it's evident. NUVention is a model. It's a model for creativity.
The key thing is getting
the right people together, almost kind of creating your own little think tank. And when you work together, you can truly create something.
It's a model for business and design.
NUVention really gave us the tools to create a business and a company that can sustain itself for the long term.
It's a model for education.
There's no such thing as the engineer anymore, or the business person anymore. Everyone's interdisciplinary, and this is an environment where you learn how to work in that type of team before being thrown out into the real world.
And it's a model for lifelong connection.
There's lifelong relationships that have been built through our program, and I think as faculty, that's some of the most satisfying dimensions of it, and that we've given students a set of learning, a set of experiences that they will be able to translate into their real life experiences.
I was really happy with this design.
I cannot think of a single class or anything really that can compare with NUVention. I feel like it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
Your time appears to be up.